imagine these ancient spiritual communities, really serene, disciplined places, right? People striving for something higher.
A real focus.
But what holds it all together? How do you make sure everyone's actually living by the ideals, especially with, human nature being what it is?
Yeah, that's always the challenge, isn't it? Maintaining that integrity.
Exactly. And often the answer seems to lie in having really clear rules, sometimes quite detailed rules.
Absolutely. Codes of conduct are crucial.
So welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really get into the details.
Cutting through the noise.
That's the idea. Today, we're going back, way back, to look at an ancient Buddhist monastic role, specifically for nuns. It's known as the fourth Pārājika.
A very significant one.
And our source for this is excerpts from a text called Pārājika 4MD. It details a specific situation, some misconduct, and the very serious rule that came out of it.
Yeah, it unpacks the origin story, essentially.
So our mission today, it's not just to say what the rule is. We want to get into the why. Why was it needed? What specific actions did it cover?
And the consequences. They were profound, irreversible, really.
Right. So get ready. It's a fascinating look into monastic life, ancient ethics, the whole picture.
Let's do it.
Okay, setting the scene. Where does this all start? The text places us in Savatthi.
At Anathapitika's monastery, Jetavana, a major center for the early community.
A place you'd expect, profound practice. But even there,
human complexities arise, yeah.
The text points to this specific group of nuns, this chabbaggiyā bhikkhuniyo. It seems their conduct was causing some issues.
Yes, they're described as avasutta, which translates roughly as, lustful or infatuated.
And it wasn't just an internal feeling, right? They were interacting with men, also described as avasuttasa pirasa pukalasa, lustful men.
Exactly. And the interactions were becoming problematic.
So what exactly were they doing? The text is surprisingly specific here.
It really lists them out.
Yeah, like hatakani pisadianti. They were actually delighting in holding hands.
And sakagahanam pisadianti, delighting in grabbing the corner of a man's robe.
Which feels quite intimate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not just accidental.
Definitely not. Then there's Santyanhanti P just standing near them, close by.
And Salapanti P speaking with them while standing close.
It escalates too. Sekatam P gachanti, going to a prearranged meeting, a tryst.
Okay, so planning involved.
Right. And Purasasapia Bhagamanasadianti, delighting when a man actually approached them, welcoming it.
And Chanapianopavisanti, entering a secluded place together.
Seeking privacy, concealment.
And the final one listed is Kayampi Tadatayo Pasaranti, allowing their body to be touched, specifically for unchaste purposes.
Yeah. It's quite a list, and as you can imagine, this didn't go unnoticed.
No, I bet. The text says other nuns, the apicha, described as those with few desires, sort of the more disciplined ones.
Content, moderate nuns.
They disapproved strongly, and they took it to the Buddha.
Who, the record shows, condemned these actions quite clearly.
And this is what led directly to the rule itself.
Precisely. This specific pattern of behavior led to the framing of the fourth Pārājika rule for bhikkhunīs, for the nuns.
Now, Pārājika, you said it's serious. How serious are we talking?
It's the most serious category of offense in the Vinaya, the monastic code. It's not like getting a warning or doing penance. It means expulsion.
Expulsion, as in out of the Sangha.
Completely out, automatic, irreversible expulsion from the monastic community. You cease to be a nun, effectively.
Wow. Okay. So what makes an action rise to that level? What's the core condition?
The text lays it out. The nun has to be avasutta, lustful, infatuated.
Right, that internal state again?
Yes. And the interaction has to be with an avasutto pirsapugalo, a lustful human male, and there's even a definition for him.
Oh, really? What's that?
He has to be vinyonyu paibalo kainasasaga samapajitu. Essentially intelligent and physically capable of, sexual contact.
Okay, so it's quite specific about both parties.
Very. But the absolute crucial element, the thing that makes it Pārājika, is the intent.
The why.
Exactly. The action must be done at tasasatamasa pasivanataya for the specific purpose of engaging in unchaste conduct, sexual misconduct.
So it's not about accidental bumping or an innocent conversation. It has to be deliberate, aimed at that specific outcome.
Precisely. The intent is paramount.
That makes sense. So with that intent established, what were the actual actions, the triggers for expulsion? You mentioned a list.
Yes. The text outlines 8 specific grounds, the havatuka, If a nun, being lustful, does any one of these 8 things with a lustful, capable man for the purpose of unchaste conduct, it's pārājikā.
8 specific things. Okay, let's break those down. What's the first one?
First is chabbaggiyā, delighting in holding the man's hand. And it specifies from the elbow to the fingertips.
Okay, so not just a quick handshake. There's a delighting aspect in a defined area.
Correct. Second, chabbaggiyā, delighting in taking hold of the corner of his robe, whether he's wearing it or it's just, say, draped nearby.
Again, that feels like a deliberate, familiar gesture.
Third, santiyā, standing with him, specifically within arm's reach. Proximity matters.
Close physical presence. Fourth,
slapeyā, speaking with him while standing that close within arm's reach. It implies an engaged, private conversation.
not just shouting across the yard. Got it. Fifth,
Sakatayavagacaya, going to an appointed meeting place, a tryst with him. This shows clear premeditation.
planning it out. Sixth,
Sixth, Purisasaba abagamana sadiyaya, delighting in him approaching her, actively welcoming his advance.
interesting. So it's about her reaction too. Seventh,
Seventh, Chanava anupavizaya, entering a secluded place with him, any covered or private area. Again, intent for privacy.
makes sense. And the last one, the eighth.
Eighth, Keyavatataya upasaharya. This is allowing her body to be touched by him for that unchaste purpose while within his arm's reach.
That seems like the culmination, the most physically explicit one.
It often is, yes. But any one of these 8 with the right conditions and intent triggers the pārājikā. They really covered the progression, didn't they?
They really did, step by step. It's incredibly detailed.
And what's also fascinating is how the text acknowledges, shades of gray. While any of those 8 with the full lustful intent for misconduct equals pārājikā.
There are lesser offenses.
Exactly. The source mentions other levels. For example, if she delights in him holding her body below the knee, or if she enters arm's reach for some other reason not quite meeting the full criteria, that might be considered atulakaya, which is still a serious offense requiring confession and rehabilitation, but it's not expulsion.
Okay, so serious, but not the end of the road.
Right. And even lighter is dukkaya, a minor offense. This could be for things like, say, taking the first few steps towards a tryst but turning back, or maybe delighting in his approach but not letting it proceed further.
So there's a built-in system for grading the severity. That's quite sophisticated.
It really is, especially for an ancient code. It shows an understanding of escalation and intent. But make no mistake, if the conditions for pārājikā are met,
Then it's absolute.
absolutely, absolute. The text uses this incredibly powerful simile to describe it.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
It says, "Siatapi namatalo matakatachino abhabo punavirihia."
Which means,
Just as a palm tree cut off at the crown cannot grow again.
wow, that's stark.
It is. It means the nun, asamanhotia sakyatita. She is no longer a nun, no longer considered a spiritual daughter of the Sakyan lineage, the Buddha's own.
Cut off from the roots.
Completely. And she is asavasa. She no longer has communion, no sharing of space or community with the Sangha. It's total and final.
That palm tree image really drives it home. But I have to ask, was there any leeway? What about mistakes or illness or not knowing the rule?
That's a really important question. And yes, the system did account for certain circumstances. The text lists conditions called anapati situations where there's no offense, even if the act occurred.
Okay, like what?
Well, if it was unintentional, asanicca, or done mindlessly without awareness, asatya, or if she genuinely didn't know it was wrong, ajnantiya.
So lack of knowledge or intent matters.
Crucially, also, if she didn't delight in it, asaryantiya, maybe it was forced or unwanted.
Oh, okay.
And then there are conditions related to mental state. If she was insane, mamatikaya, or mentally disturbed, kitatateya, or delirious from severe pain or illness, vedana.
So mental capacity is considered.
Yes. And interestingly, there's one more. Arikamikaya, the first offender, meaning the very nun whose actions caused the rule to be made in the first place. She wouldn't be penalized under the rule she hadn't yet heard.
Right, you can't break a rule before it exists. That seems fair.
It shows a real, nuanced legal mind behind it all. Strict, yes, but not entirely rigid. It accounts for culpability.
So, stepping back from the ancient text for a moment, what does all this detail tell us? Why should someone listening today care about this specific ancient rule?
Well, I think it tells us a lot about how communities, especially those built around shared values or spiritual goals, establish and maintain their identity.
How so?
Think about the level of detail. They didn't just say, don't misbehave. They defined exactly what crossed the line, step by step. It created really clear boundaries.
Yeah, you can't claim ambiguity with those 8 points.
Right. And it shows how important establishing codes of conduct is for any group trying to maintain integrity, whether it's a monastery, a company, or even, a social club.
And the emphasis on intent, on the mental state avasuddha, that feels very relevant too. It wasn't just about the external act.
Absolutely. The internal disposition was key. Why were you doing it? Were you delighting in it? That internal focus is something very central to Buddhist ethics in general.
It's like they were legislating against not just actions, but certain states of mind that lead to those actions.
Precisely. And consider how these detailed rules helped define what it meant to be a bhikkhuni, a nun in this tradition. Adhering to this code was part of that identity. Breaking it meant losing that identity completely.
It really protected the integrity of the order itself.
Exactly. It maintained the standard, the ideal they were collectively striving for.
So this deep dive into Pārājika 4, it really highlights it as a fundamental piece of the monastic code for nuns back then.
Definitely a cornerstone. The severity, the irreversibility, the meticulous conditions, it all speaks volumes.
It shows this incredibly detailed framework for dealing with serious misconduct, balancing strictness with, surprisingly, quite a bit of nuance regarding intent and circumstance.
A sophisticated system.
So as we wrap up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah.
How do our societies today set standards? How do we enforce the rules that protect our community values, whatever those might be?
That's a big question. We have laws, social norms, professional codes.
Right. And what can we maybe learn from the kind of meticulousness we saw here? This ancient focus on the interplay between someone's intention, their specific action, the ultimate consequence, and how all of that affects the cohesion of the group.
It makes you think about how we balance individual behavior with community integrity. Even now, the principles might be ancient, but the questions, they still feel very current, don't they?
They really do. Something to mull over.